All right, everybody, welcome back to the best show that you all know. We got Coach's Corner here with three past champions. And we're going to break it down for you, talk about the drafty draft that we just had.
Did you say Coach's Corner?
Oh, did I? Did I say Coach's
Yeah.
Corner? It's a great bar. Restart.
Well, I mean, we are coaching the league and how not to be terrible.
I mean, it's Spear won last year only because he followed all of our advice and listened every single week. So
100% number one subscriber. So
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, yeah, just let it go. Fuck it. Champions Corner, Coach's Corner. It's the corner you want to be on.
I am going to apologize right off the bat to all of our loyal listeners and watchers. I'm drafting right now in Corey's home league auction draft. So if I keep looking away and I'm not paying attention sometimes, it's because multitasking. They say men can't multitask. Fuck that. Multitasking like a boss.
It's because nobody can multitask. It's a myth.
All right. I'll take that.
It's called task switching and everybody sucks. Anyway, let's start with bets because it's the most fun. The only bets we got are our bets for draft predictions, which I made pretty much none, which means I had the best record of apparently disagreeing with you guys was the right choice. So we'll just run through what they were. You both owed 8 from the standard draft predictions, if I remember the count correctly. So we had Carver's first kicker taken by Andy, and that was not true. Andy has learned his lesson and did not draft a kicker first.
But I don't know if it's learned his lesson or just hit auto draft and walked away. I'm just saying.
That's still a better performance. Unfortunately, there's a few people in our league that benefit from auto draft, and I'm sure we'll get into that when we talk specifically about the draft, because somebody that did an auto draft probably still would have done better had they. So, we'll talk about that. So yeah, we got some auto drafting happening, but made it so Andy was not the first kicker, which either means Sleeper's auto draft is decent because sometimes auto draft will pick a kicker and a D early to fill your roster before it starts filling your bench.
Oh, it's going to pick that D to fill your roster.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling it these days.
You use D to fill things. I'm just saying. If you're doing it right, it's filling. So that was yours. Harris agreed with you. I disagreed. You were both wrong. Andy did not take the kicker. First person to draft from the NFL team they root for is Richie, was a Harris one. We both disagreed, Carver and I. Carver thought it was going to be Corey. I don't believe it was, mostly because the Seahawks are terrible. But you don't have to drink for that because all you had to do is disagree. Brashawn drafts Trey Lance in the 4th round. He definitely didn't draft him in the 4th round, and I think I drafted him much later than the 4th round. So Carver, that was you. You were wrong. We disagreed. First defense drafted by Matt Nielsen was a Harris one. Carver agreed with you. You were both wrong. I disagreed.
I thought it was just a Matt. Just any Matt drafts the first defense. That's what I thought.
I have it clearly written as Matt Nielsen.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, I'm sure we can go to the tape. Now a prediction somebody actually got right, which just to ruin the fun, Carver is the only one that actually got a prediction right.
Woohoo!
Just to point this out, which was Spear goes on auto draft, which I think I saw happen twice, even though he came back and kept drafting unlike other people.
I already took a shot for this one, but because Carver got it right, I'm just going to take a shot for that.
Yeah. I actually agreed because I know Spear's terrible habits. So one of the few times I agreed, and it was a correct decision.
For you, Carver.
Thank you.
Right. Harris, Special K makes a comment bitching about someone taking his pick. So this one was fun because we had Chris on camera, like Matt and I, but that's not the way the bet was said. He did complain about my Pierce pick, but not to a Chris enough level to have counted, even if we would have counted that video chat. So Harris was wrong. Amazingly, we all agreed that Chris would do this, so we all owe for this one. At least two people draft different. Oh God, I typed this one in wrong. At least two different people draft two different defenses.
Yeah.
Okay. I had an extra difference in there. Carver's thought or prediction, he was wrong. Nobody agreed with him. Andy does not draft a rookie. Harris's prediction. Carver agreed. I disagreed. Auto draft. Thank you. So I was the only one that was right on that one. At least three different people don't draft a rookie running back. Carver, Harris. Well, we all agreed with you that at least three people wouldn't. And there was a whole discussion about how some of us would take multiple, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Prashan drafts Aaron Rodgers. Harris, incorrect. Had you done two QBs, would have been correct. But we both disagreed, so that was another one. Bill drafts Zach Ertz, because this is when we decided to all make a prediction about Bill's team. So Carver said he would draft Zach Ertz. That didn't happen. Nobody agreed with you. Bill drafts a running back in the second round. You two agreed. I, for the sake of disagreeing, disagreed and was correct, amazingly. And then I thought Bill would mention that taking pick 3 was a mistake. And he said almost nothing ever. So I was wrong and you guys disagreed. So the only other two on here we will get to when we talk about grades. Because if I say it now, I can tell you Matt and I were wrong for best draft and Carver was wrong for worst draft. And those are shot and checks. So that's the bets. Guys, send more card bets. I got like one and it was not great. I'll have to do something in the league chat eventually, or maybe I need to do another Google Sheets survey so they can click on a link and just type it up and makes it ezy for them. I don't know.
It's like that. I got one that was not great.
Yeah, part of it is it's just I'll just read it off. So Special K submitted. Technically, he worded as donate plasma and use the money to buy the winner lunch, which was fun because he was later up that weekend. Then people pointed out if you are donating plasma, you are not getting paid.
Yeah, because it's a donation. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's a donation, Chris.
So as a card of go donate blood, I would probably just put blood and not plasma because plasma is a whole another ball game. But if you need to get paid for it to buy somebody lunch, I think the card alone of just donating blood is actually a nice card, just a, good community thing for some weird reason to be like, yeah. Not to mention it wastes a decent amount of your time and you help others, which probably hurts my soul, but I probably won't lose that card, so it's fine. So that's bets, more card bets. Let's get into this draft recap because it was a much better draft.
For sure, 100%. The strategy that we're going to go with the draft recap, guys, is we're going to start with 12 and work our way all the way down to 1. The way this is going to work is I'm going to read what the footballers said about our draft, each team individually, and then Carver's going to give us his Carver insights inside the mind of a Matt Carver. He'll go into detail about what he thinks about your draft, and then we'll move on. At the end of this video too, we're going to talk about actual grades given by the footballers. All right, so hold on to your butt cheeks, and here we go. Hold on, I got people looking at me. It's blurred. They can't see you. It's just I have shadow people too. All right. So starting in number 12 spot, Gaston's chest hair. That's my team this year. Let's see what it says. Diving deep on the position groups, you're looking strong at the starting flex compared to the rest of your league. No surprise, Alvin Kamara is the backbone of your starting lineup, and you'll lean on him week to week. It pains us to say, but starting tight end grades out as your weakest and definitely need some attention. And I fully get that. Gabe Davis introduces the most risk to your starters, so bear that in mind heading into the season. Be sure to add depth as needed. Andy likes your team the most between the three footballers. Take a deeper look at the rest of our analysis on your roster and remember to stay flexible into 2022, not growing attached to the players you drafted.
Did they just praise you for your flex position?
Yeah, my flex is on fleek.
Okay. It's like that doesn't seem like the position you want to be rewarded for.
Well, they said Kamara's my backbone. You know.
Right. So you got, yeah, okay. It's interesting that's like
I
your
wa-
flex is the best.
Yeah, let's get in the mind of Carver though. Let's see what Carver says about this.
So we already went over your keepers last week. You kept Kamara and Joe Burrow. You took two quarterbacks. Justin Fields was one of them that you were able to stack with Khalil Herbert,
Yep.
in a kind of stack.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
But you don't have any stacks with any of your starters. So that's we'll see how that works out for you. You took one tight end, one kicker, one defense, kind of the classic way to go about things right there. You drafted three rookies, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, and George Pickens. And that gives you some good flexibility options for next year if you choose to not have Kamara as your keeper. Most likely, at least right now, everybody would think it would be Brees Hall if you do choose to pivot, but only time will tell on that one. As far as your team, I think that you've got really, really good running backs, really strong running backs, except for Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker is trash. So do with that what you will. Weaknesses, wide receiver, in my opinion. You got big weaknesses there. Your number one wide receiver is Hollywood Brown, who might not even be a number one on his own team when D-Hop comes back. So you potentially could have a whole team of no number one wide receivers on their own team. So I think that you have playoff potential for sure, but I do not think, given your current lineup, you will be a serious contender for the championship.
Oh, that's another segment, bud. Don't go into that.
Okay.
Chew, you have any comments on that?
No.
Okay. Let us move on to number 11. In the 11 spot, we had Special K this year, or his team, My Friend Woody. Unless he changed his name, I'm not sure if he did or not. Draft night, that's what it was. Of the three footballers, Jason is most on board with your players as it best aligns with his 2022 predictions. When it's comparing position groups, starting flex seems to be a difference maker right now. Your team grades out weakest at bench wide receiver, so be mindful of that heading into 2022. As expected, Najee Harris will be the foundation of your starting roster, so you might as well buy his jersey now and rename your firstborn child. On the other hand, Jerry Jeudy looks like he'll introduce the most risk to this team. That's Special K's.
All right. So as we talked, well, go ahead.
So once again, flex was praised.
They love praising the flex. Let's just get that guy there. All right. Yeah. Special K, keepers, Najee Harris, Liz Frank injury, anybody? And Elijah Mitchell. Drafted one quarterback and got the Jerry Jeudy stack out of that. Drafted two tight ends, which I think the Gerald Everett pick was just absolute wasted pick. Gerald Everett has proven to be trash on every team he's been on. And I don't even know if he's going to be the starting tight end for San Diego. So, or the Chargers, Los Angeles, whatever. But yeah, drafted one kicker, one defense. Drafted Sky Moore as the only rookie that he drafted. So he's either locked into Najee Harris as his rookie keeper next year, or he's got to take Sky Moore. So not a ton of flexibility right there. Hopefully Najee proves to be the guy you wanted him to be, and that he's a year-to-year keeper. Your wide receivers, you drafted Tyreek Hill and Debo, who I feel both of them are going to regress from last year. I feel like Tyreek Hill doesn't have as good of a quarterback or as good of a system. Debo Samuel had a career year last year for him, a lot of rushing touchdowns and everything. I feel like Trey Lance is probably going to come in and take some of that rushing opportunity away, and may not be, who knows if he's a good passer or not. We'll see. But yeah, so your running back situation, I just think is decent at absolute best. So overall, not too impressed. Other than Najee Harris and Elijah Mitchell, running back situation, kind of grim. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Chewy, any insights?
nothing stands out. There's nothing horrible, but there's nothing like great about his teams, which it might be the summation of a lot of the teams this year, just knowing some things that we'll get into later in the draft.
So I forgot that I was going to share the draft board. Should we put that up? So you
Sure,
can
why
see
not?
all the stuff.
You can, yeah.
I've got it up on my screen, even if you don't. So I've been looking at it.
No, but for the faithful viewers at home, Chewy, they want to see what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
they need to remember, and it's easier to see what happened in the draft this way for them. Given his keepers were 2 running backs, I'm not surprised he went 3 receivers, but I actually think, ironically, Harris will probably outperform Montgomery, but I don't know. There's now this draft did happen before this weekend's preseason games, and apparently, statistic
And
wise,
before getting shot, getting carjacked, and all that fun stuff.
yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Oilers.
There's something. Okay. But I was going to say, like, I know Montgomery, I think it was like 18 snaps versus 2 to Herbert. So, if you listen to other podcasts, they kind of pointed that out, that they're still using him like he's the guy, like he's gonna stand out, or at least be the number one. It might not be as much of a timeshare as we were led to believe before this draft. So that's probably it. Where I had Montgomery last year, and he was decent, but he was my number 3 running back when I had him. So I don't know if I'm as your number 2. But Harris,
That's a Nagy offense, though. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, my only insight was Chris, for some reason, thought I really wanted Gerald Everett, and he thought he was stealing him from me. That was a funny draft moment. He's like, I took him. What do you think? And I was like, he wasn't even on my radar. Like, oh, cool, man. Good for you. All right. Moving on to the 10th pick in the draft. That goes to Corey with his Space Mountain team. It's clear that Travis Kelce is going to be a rock star for your team. So if you were planning on getting that tattoo across your chest, we're not saying don't do it. It seems like you think the most like Andy with your roster construction aligns most with his 2022 predictions. However, things aren't all roses, as Mike Davis might complicate things with a wider range of outcomes than you might be comfortable with. There we go. There's a little bit more, but yeah. So Carver.
Corey's keepers, Javonte Williams and Michael Pittman, two pretty solid keepers. Took one quarterback, didn't stack him with anybody on his team. One tight end, took no kickers and no defense. So you would think, man, he's going to have to drop some players. But Corey, I think, was the luckiest drafter this year, because he drafted a guy that's injured already. So he's going to move that guy into his IR and can pick up a kicker defense, and drafted Brian Robinson, who, as we learned, got shot and is going to be missing some games. So you can put him into his IR and pick up a kicker defense. So now he doesn't have to drop anybody. Hello. Yes, you in the back.
You only get to use one IR spot. The other one is for COVID only.
Is that still the way it is?
Yes.
Yes,
That's dumb. COVID doesn't even exist anymore.
that's the way it is.
Well,
So
and since,
negate everything that Carver just said.
well,
Not everything. You still take one player and put him in there as IR.
so I mean, this league should be paying attention. So if I read it right, he dropped Robinson
He did.
already.
I already tried
because of
picking.
the-
I'm thinking about picking him up.
Yeah. So like he's available to try, like he clears waivers tonight. So like anybody can, or I think you can add him now. It has an ad tab.
Okay.
And so it's just a matter of who you want to drop, because I was surprised that he dropped him instead of just waiting until he could put him on
He's
IR.
already released from the hospital. 2 shots in the leg. They said that there's a chance he plays this year. So
Yeah, I do not understand the drop there, given he was a much higher pick than so many of his other guys.
okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but still, if it were me, I would have dropped I dropped JD McKissick and or Naheem Hines originally before their stuff, but that's just me. He drafted 4 rookies: Brian Robinson, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jameson Williams. So he's got lots of options in case his Javonte Williams rookie doesn't hold up this year. And he's got lots of trade bait for guys that might want to keep rookies next year that don't like their rookie keepers. So put himself in a good position there. He's got nobody on his team that is a starter in his RB2 slot, right? So other than Javonte Williams, nobody on his team is a starting running back.
Yeah.
It's all timeshare or anything like that. So that might be the only downside for him, but he's also got a ton of opportunity if any of those guys get hurt. He's got guys that can step in. He's got really good wide receiver depth, very strong quarterback 1 and tight end 1, obviously, with Travis Kelce and Lamar Jackson, but nothing to back that up. So we shall see how that goes for him.
Cool. All right, going on down the line, Mr. Matt Nielsen, diving deep on the position groups. You're looking strong at starting quarterback compared to the rest of your league. No surprise, Patrick Mahomes is the backbone of your starting lineup, and you'll lean on him week to week. It pains us to say it, but starting wide receiver grades out as your weakest and definitely need some attention. James Conner introduces the most risk as your starters, so bear that in mind heading into the season. Be sure to add depth as needed. Jason likes his team the most.
Yeah, Matt Nielsen, Mike Evans, and TJ Hawkinson as the keepers. As we talked about before, he took 2 quarterbacks. He's got good depth there, but there were no stacks. The computer did not auto draft stacking for him. Has 2 tight ends, 1 kicker, 1 defense. I actually think that for the way our league is set up, I think it's more beneficial to draft 2 tight ends than it is to draft 2 quarterbacks. I feel like there's so much quarterback depth on the waiver wire still, and tight ends kind of really dry up really fast. So if you're worried about having depth behind in a position, I think I'd rather have depth in tight end than I would in quarterback. Like I said, just because of the availability of the tight ends is not there and the quarterbacks are. But he drafted or got auto drafted 0 rookies for him. So he's kind of locked into Mike Evans again for his rookie keeper next year, unless he makes any kind of trades. That pick just continues to get worse and worse, in my opinion. He's strong at running back, and luckily he hit the Antonio Gibson lottery with Brian Robinson getting shot. So that Antonio Gibson gains a lot of value there. He's got decent wide receivers, and yeah, that's about it.
All right.
How many
Two,
picks
anything
did
you
he
wanna-
do before he went on auto draft?
Two, maybe three, maybe
No,
two, maybe.
Okay,
Three.
I can't
Yeah.
remember if they both
As I
did
remember,
three.
well, excuse me, he did only 2 picks. Because
He did two and Andy did three.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he did Barkley and Connor, and then he phoned it in from there.
Yeah, all right. That was mostly what I wanted to point out is how little. I mean, I'm sure that made his draft better than if he did it himself, but
All right, moving on then. We're going to the Chew father himself, Chew Daddy, the bet overlord. Your strongest position, Chew, tight end.
yeah, it is.
Feel free to boast about it. Don't get too cocky as your starting running backs appear the weakest and could need improvement as you enter the season. As you might expect, you'll be leaning on Mark Andrews as the anchor of your roster, while Trey Lance will be someone to watch as you start the season, presenting the most risk to your starting group and likely raising your blood pressure on Sundays.
Correct.
Harvey, your breakdown on Chew's team?
Yeah, so we know that Chewy Tip kept Ezekiel Elliott and Michael Thomas. Only taking one quarterback. Like I said, there's a lot of quarterback depth on the waiver wire, but this one quarterback is pretty risky, unproven, very, very high ceiling, but very, very, very low floor, especially now that the Niners showed ultimate faith in him by re-signing Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. That's yeah, we'll see. One tight end, one kicker, one defense. Very very classic right there. No stacks with Trey Lance, so didn't get Debo, didn't get Ayuk. Drafted 4 rookies: Damian Pierce, James Cook, Isaiah Spiller, and Romeo Doubs. So pretty sure targeting Damian Pierce as your rookie keeper for next year, but see how everything plays out. You got
Yeah.
other options as well, so put yourself in a good position for next year. Got strong starters all around, really decent depth at running back and wide receiver, but I think your team will only go as far as Trey Lance does. So
Probably.
if Lance doesn't hit, I don't know if the rest of your team is going to be able to carry you. So
Yeah, there's some, even Edmonds. I mean, my running backs are risky. I don't even have that much faith in Elliott, especially now that they lost their Pro Bowl tackle, I think, like one of their
Yeah,
best
left tackle.
linemen. So Elliott now looks even worse. Pierce is a rookie, but at least he's pretty much locked up the starting job. Edmonds, I mean, he's on a team where, I mean, he's just it's risky. So running
Yeah.
back is definitely weak. Even receivers is like not great. So yeah, I've got like the review said, I've got a strong tight end and everything else is risky as shit.
Yeah, I didn't say, but Jason likes your team the most as well, Chief. All right, moving on. Andy Brooksner is back in the league, and his team Smash.
is he?
Of the 3 footballers, Andy likes Andy's team the most. He's on board with his players because they align with his 2022 predictions.
Like
What-
name nepotism or something right there.
When comparing your position groups, starting quarterback seems to be a difference maker right now. Your team grades out weakest at bench running back, so be mindful of that heading into 2022. As expected, Kyler Murray will be the foundation of your starting roster, so might as well buy his jersey now and rename your first child. I think they need to get some more of those. On the other hand, CeeDee Lamb looks like he'll introduce the most risk to your team this year.
Yeah, so Andy kept DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb. He was drafted 2 quarterbacks, very, very strong. Dak is his second quarterback, but might end up being the starter since he's got that CeeDee Lamb stack. Might be able to ride that combo to some good stuff. Took 2 tight ends, 1 kicker, 1 defense. Got 2 rookies, Treylon Burks and Jahan Dotson. But with DK Metcalf being his current rookie, unless he makes a trade for one of the rookie running backs, he's kind of locked himself into a rookie wide receiver, or a wide receiver in his rookie keeper. So again, like we've talked about, you want that rookie keeper to be as close to a first round draft as possible in a normal redraft league. And DK Metcalf, Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, I just don't think are going to be close to first round draft pick keepers. So you're doing yourself a disservice by going with that strategy, in my opinion. Yeah, he's pretty weak running back depth and just decent at best at all other places except quarterback, where he's really strong. So I think he was lucky to get auto drafted, because I don't know if the team would have been even as good as it is now. Probably would have taken a kicker in the 4th round.
Yeah. Chewy, thoughts?
I will point out that it's funny that the only reason he wasn't the first, because he turns out he is the second person to take a kicker.
Oh,
And when you look at the person that took it, it's the draft we'll probably make fun of the most. So you were really close in your prediction. You just didn't account for one very fun individual.
All right. I think we actually have enough time to move to the next spot.
We only got a little over 5 minutes left, so probably just good to end it now and then do 1 through 6 and final recap on the next one.
Okay, cool.
All right. We will see you in part 2. There we go.